Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Annie 245. We are on Module 8, and we're going to be creating poses with our new character. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you download the posing references. This is where all the references you're going to be using to pose Bony. That's our new character, and then we've got my file that's all ready for you, so you can download that file and make sure you just put it on your hard drive and rename it so your first name is be in front of Annie 245, so you can use that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So you open up Maya, you're going to set your project, and you're going to set it to the project that I sent you. It won't say start on it, but I'm just giving you, it might just say Module 8. I have no idea what I named it, but just go ahead and select it and set it. And then you can go to File, Open Scene. And in here you see we have the Ultimate Bony Start 01.ma. So just go ahead and open that. It'll tell you we've got errors. Don't just ignore that and click OK. Alright, this is our Bony character, and we're going to do a couple things. We're going to show you how it works and how to get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your timeline, and instead of frame 1, we're going to add a frame 0. So click on 0 and hit enter, and then we're going to pull that slider back a little bit. We also have 48 frames. We don't need that many. You need to have 20 poses, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this down to 20. There we go. And so when we get that done, we have 0 to 20, so this is easy. We can just go from one frame to another. So the idea is we're going to keep the character at frame 0 and select all of the controllers and keyframe that, and we're going to continue all the way down to the end. So all you have to do is when you go from one pose to another, so we'll have 20 poses in one scene. So we'll get started. Let's go ahead and do a quick select set. And what's nice about this character, it does have a quick select set with it, but if you found that you wanted to add more controllers or just wanted to do arm controllers or whatever controller you want to have a quick select set for, you could go in here and do create sets and quick select sets. When you do that, you can add whatever selection set that you want, and you can add it to a shelf. I would recommend that you are on animation, so before you add the quick select set. Okay, you can see I still have my walker in there, but that's not part of this. So we're going to go to select, and we're going to go to quick select sets, and this one has the controllers on there. So we got Bony all controls. So if I click on that, you can see that it selects all the controllers except for the one that's called main controller, the Bony main controller. That's what moves the whole rig around. And what's nice about this rig that we didn't have in the walker rig is the fact that we can scale it. So that's kind of nice. All right, we didn't have that before. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a quick select set for that. We're able to then keyframe all of these keyframes. I'm going to go ahead, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take you through the whole entire thing. Now I think it might be best if we actually do have everything zeroed out and make sure we're good. Now I know you don't want to zero out this because it would turn it into nothing, because 1 is the default state for the scale. Alright, so I'll just take you through the rig real quick, and then we'll then go ahead and continue from there. So of course, you know what this does. This has rotational controls. This has up and down controls, and this has scale controls. All right, so we know all that, and then we're going to go right to the feet because those are probably the most complex ones. So we click on our switch IK. Now remember on the walker, the switch IK was on the foot, which I did not like. They put it on the heel, which makes sense to me. And you can switch that then and turn that from 0 to 1. And that allows you then to move these joints or rotate these joints except you shouldn't be able to do that. That's a broken leg there. But you're able to move these in forward kinematics. Highly recommend not doing that, but that's just how you can set it up. And if we go back to the controller, we can go into 0 again. That'll bring us back into IK, which allows us to move the leg like this. Okay. All right, so all your controllers are zeroed out. So whenever you get in trouble, you can just zero everything out. As you guys know, we've got our foot. So when you click on our foot, then we've got all of these. Okay, we've got stretch, we've got knee lock, we've got toe tilt, we've got heel ball, toe up, and ball swivel. So just like I showed you before, you can click on one of these and move it back and forth. So what I'm doing is I'm highlighting this, my middle mouse button, I'm holding down, and this allows me to use that control in real time. Okay, which is really nice and fast. And then we'll do the toe up and down. Okay, and then we're going to do the ball swivel, which is really nice. And we got the knee lock. That knee will lock to that knee controller. Don't want to do that. And we got the stretch, so it allows us to stretch if we want to, which we're not going to use because we want to kind of have a more realistic look to our character. So knee lock, stretch. All right, so foot tilt, heel ball, toe up, down, ball swivel you'll be using. Okay, that's where you can find those. And then we've got our toe, which allows us to rotate that if we want to. So we've got a toe roll here, which is nice. So you can do that kind of thing. If you're doing like a ballerina, a ballet pose, that kind of stuff, you can use that. You can't move it and you can't scale it. So you got rotational values only. Okay? So you can do that. So you can stamp out a cigarette if you're smoking, which hopefully you guys aren't. We've got knee controls. Obviously, those are movable. A lot of times when you're doing extreme poses, you're probably going to want to pull those away. I would just recommend, it's not going to hurt anything. Just pull those away. It will still follow your rig. Okay? The problem with this, though, is if you get too close and you go through those with your knees, what's going to happen is that they're going to do some weird stuff, especially if it's pulled out like that. So you have to be really careful. So when I pull that leg up, it goes through that knee controller. It's trying to follow that, but then if you move your foot out, it does that. So you've got to have those knee controllers far enough away that they won't pass. Your leg won't pass through there. So sometimes I just pull them out a little bit. Most of the time you're okay with where they're at, so just be careful. Be mindful of that. And then we've got our up-down position for our body. We've got our hip sway control. We've also got a move control within that other controller. And we've got a hip sway. And that's great. And then we've got, of course, our back. Controls our back. And, of course, there's a lot of these are just rotational values, okay? To just make sure you understand that. All right, so we got all those controllers, and all those controllers that go through the arm. I think that's all self-explanatory. Shoulders, we've got the neck, and we have the head up here. And then we have a switch, an IK switch here, which is kind of interesting. So it's set up for IK or FK right now. So it's set up for forward kinematics right now, but if you wanted to save some time, you could probably set that to 0, which will bring us to IK, which allows us to do this, which is kind of cool. So you got a nice switch up on there, right on the wrist, to switch between the two. I tend to keep it with FK, but whatever you guys want to work with, that's fine. I'm going to go back to 1. So that brings us back to forward kinematics. That means you're just basically rotating each one of these one by one. that's what you so choose to do. And then we've got the hand. Nothing special there. You got your palm, and then you got your fingers. Of course, you can do one at a time, but I would recommend going from one from the base outwards, holding the shift key, and then rotating will give you a nice smooth rotate, right? We knew how to do that with the fox tail, if you remember that one. And we can do the same thing with the fingers. So yeah, we don't have individual fingers like 5. We got enough to cause some trouble. Anyway, so we've got that finger there, and then we've got this guy right here, our thumb. Same thing, right? There you go. And of course, you guys can manipulate those separately if you want to. That's basically the rig in a nutshell. Just make sure everything's zeroed out before you start messing around or doing a quick select set. And if you do have something that is out of order, it's just easy enough to select the whole thing and hit 0 and then hit enter, and that will zero everything out for you. Well, we're at frame 1. And we've got a quick select set on it already, so you can see that if I do want to add quick select sets, then I can go to create, go down to sets, and then quick select set, and you can have it go to the shelf if you want to. It'll give you that option. I would recommend it. And then of course you got your selection, and then you've got your sets, quick select sets right here, and then you can click on that, and that clicks on the whole thing. So what we want to do is we want to select the whole thing, and we want to hit the S key. And we want to take this and we want to copy that, and we want to paste that, paste on every one of these frames all the way down. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video until you get all done. Just go to every single frame all the way to 20, and I'll see you in just a bit. All right, we got it all done. You've got copy and pasted the first frame, which will always be at default. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start at frame 1 and start posing your character however you want to pose your character, and into the pose that you want. And then you will go ahead and set that keyframe, or I would probably have automatic keyframe on. It's up to you. So it's just whatever you want to do. You do a key pose, and let's just say I'm going to do this real quick and move that down a little bit. And we'll just kind of, I know that looks totally unnatural, but it looks goofy. But the thing is, let's move that over a little bit. That down a little bit. There we go. So he's touching the ground at least. All right. So, got this goofy pose, and we want to keyframe that, and make sure you want to have automatic keyframe on. So, we've got our first key pose, and then we've got, you can see that that's how you're going to work. So, you pose your character, and you'll do all you'll take off your controllers, you do your renders, and you can work like that. That way you can keep everything in your scene, all 20, and you can just send me out one scene with your poses, right? So frame 0 will always be default. Do not set that as a pose. Then you go from 1 all the way to 20. All right, so hopefully that will help you get started. Of course, this is a terrible pose. Do not use this one. Use the ones that I gave you, okay? The referencing poses. Those are also, I think I put those in your images folder or your source images folder. Let me just check and see if I have them in there. I'm going to go to view image plane. I would never put an image in the perspective view. Let's just do it on the side view there, or the front view. And let's go to view image plane, import image, and I do. Look at that. So they're all in here. So I've got some cool poses that if you want to bring in, that's how you would do it. So I do have them in there. I'm glad I did that. So Bony poses, and then you've got all these to choose from. I got way more than 20. You choose the one you would want. This is basically what I want you to end up with. And in the rendering and silhouette section video, I'll show you how to do that. But go ahead and focus on your posing now. So you bring in maybe an image like this in your front view. Okay, could be something like that, and you would use that in your background. Of course, when I go into perspective, I can kind of manipulate that a little bit better. I never put it in perspective view. You can't really control it. So you just put it over here somewhere, get it out of your way, so when you're posing you can use it. Okay, that's what I would do. You can also scale it up to whatever size you want. Okay, whatever fits you to help you with your posing. Okay, all right. So I'll start your posing at frame 1. Make sure you have automatic set on, and then every time you go to the next pose, it will automatically get back to 0, 0, 0. That's what I would do. And then after you're done with all 20 poses, then I would go and watch the rendering video to show, basically take you through how to render your character, light your character, render it, and then get the silhouette. And that's in the next video. All right, I'll see you in the next video.